Good evening and welcome to the Raw Feed. I'm Gary Franchi coming to you from our studio in Washington, D.C., where earlier today I filed 5 major reports from the White House on this historic day 101 of Donald Trump's return to the presidency. The stories we cover today at the White House will show you exactly why the mainstream media is in full panic mode. Before we dive into these reports, you need to know something critical. Big tech is actively suppressing coverage like ours. That's why I'm asking you to take out your phone right now and text this live streaming link to at least 3 people that you trust. Person-to-person sharing is how we bypass their algorithmic censorship. We're broadcasting simultaneously across multiple platforms, YouTube, Rumble, and X, and I want you to follow us on all 3 platforms because when they try to silence us on one, you'll still have access to the truth on the others. Now, what makes the Raw Feed different? Well, we connect with you, our viewers, in real time. And throughout tonight's show, we'll be featuring your super chats and Rumble rants right here on screen, sharing your reactions with millions worldwide. Today's coverage includes my reports on President Trump's Michigan rally that has establishment shaking, the cabinet meeting that exposes the deep state's worst nightmare, the ABC News interview where the president turned the tables on Terry Moran, Press Secretary Leavitt's briefing that revealed the administration's true impact, and Elon Musk's dramatic announcement about the future of DOGE. But here is the reality. Maintaining our daily presence in D.C., bringing you these reports from the White House, it is not cheap. While corporate media collects their checks from their globalist masters, we rely on patriots like you. The donation link is in the description. Every dollar helps us maintain our operation here in the nation's capital. And for those ready to take their support further, our channel membership program offers insider access, special acknowledgement in the chat, and membership in our 24/7 Discord community, where you can connect directly with the Next News team. And you want to show your support for real journalism? Head to shop.nextnewsnetwork.com and check out our latest merch line. Let the world know you stand with independent media. Now, we're broadcasting live to millions worldwide right here in D.C. The transformation that's happening in our nation's capital is unprecedented. While the mainstream media spins their narratives from their cushy studios, we are here on the ground bringing you the real story. So stay with us, keep those comments flowing, and get ready for coverage that will change how you see everything happening in Washington right now. The truth is here. This is the Raw Feed, live from Washington, D.C. Let's welcome you to the show. Joe Carroll's here, Sabrina and Valerie and Nexit is here as well. Who is in the house? We've got Big Al, Fast One, Steve Alsip, Pothead Kenny's here, Karen Finley, Tom B420, Cindy Shipley, Sure You's in the house, Roy Franks, Karen is here. We got Roscoe Treat and Duty to Rebel, and we've got Jay Another Day. We got Karen Pennington. Roscoe's on his Samsung phone. We got Dinetta Die, Starfire X55. Hanging out with you guys in the Discord last night was fun, wasn't it? Yeah. We got Big Al, Cisco, Robert Allen, R. Boyd. The gang is all here. Miss Podette Kenny's here too. What's up? We got Villain in the house, Michael Jones, Joe Carroll, Tammy Davis, VC Coins, Nevada, Chrono. We've got, everyone's here. It's great to see everybody. Make sure you hit that share link, thumbs up the live stream so that we can trigger the algorithm as best we can. But of course, sharing text message base and reposting our X feed is really important too. And speaking of which, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pin the X feed to the top of the profile so it does not get missed. And here we go, pinning to the profile. Amazing stuff happening. We had some wild posts from the White House the other day. All went viral, every one of them, millions of views. Threads going viral on X. 12,000 plus new followers on X. I mean, X is really, our X feed is blowing up. We just got to keep getting these YouTube. I mean, it's so weird. Like, I can totally see the suppression in the numbers these days. I'm not quite sure what's going on, but you guys are our secret weapon. And speaking of secret weapon, we got to get into the news about what happened in Michigan. Coming to you live from our D.C. studio, I'm bringing you my report from the White House today about President Trump's game-changing Michigan rally. This wasn't just another campaign stop. It was a victory lap showcasing real results. While the liberal media keeps pushing their democracy in danger narrative, Trump laid out exactly how he fixed the border crisis in just 100 days without a single new law from Congress. But there's something even more significant happening here that nobody's talking about. The economic numbers he revealed have sent shockwaves through Washington, so keep watching. This story goes deeper than anyone expected. And now I have a Noble Gold investment alert. Gold has surged 46% in less than a year, doubling the gains of the NASDAQ and S&P 500. But this isn't just another rally. Global reserves are shifting, exposing cracks in the monetary system. Investors are losing confidence in paper, creating a massive gap between gold owed and gold available. But this is not how institutions broke another system. It's about how you can profit from it. Right now, Noble Gold Investments has investment-grade gold bars and coins available. As banks scramble to fulfill obligations, pushing gold prices higher, you can profit. Visit nextnewsgold.com. It's linked below this video. And just tap more, and you'll find the link. And turn their panic into your profit. And the number on the screen, 877-646-5347. When you give them a call, tell Colin that Gary Franchi at Next News sent you. Okay, let's get into our report that I just filed at the White House just a few hours ago. Gary Franchi reporting just outside the White House for the Next News Network. Last night, President Trump held what many are calling a historic rally, celebrating his first 100 days back in office. And let me tell you something, this wasn't just any rally. It was a victory lap showcasing exactly what real leadership looks like. While the mainstream media continues their endless tantrum about democracy dying or whatever their talking point is today, Trump's been quietly, well, not that quietly, reshaping America in record time. First up, the border. Remember when we were told fixing the border was impossible without new laws, that it couldn't be done? Well, President Trump addressed this head on at the rally. Take a look at what he had to say.
For years, Joe Biden and the media told us that stopping the flood of illegal immigration was absolutely impossible. He said it was impossible. He didn't know what the hell anybody was talking about. He said it was impossible, that the president had no power to stop what was needed in the form of legislation. He needed legislation. He had no power to get it. But it turned out that all we needed was a new president.
All we needed was a new president, simple as that. After years of being told it couldn't be done, Trump has delivered, and the approach couldn't be clearer. Listen to this bombshell statement.
Democrats have vowed mass invasion and mass migration. We are delivering mass deportation, and it's happening very fast.
Mass deportation. Two words that terrify the D.C. establishment, but make perfect sense to regular Americans who just want their country back. And it's not just about illegal immigration numbers, it's about who was coming across that border under the last administration. That's right. The results? Border Patrol reports the fewest crossings in history. Look at this remarkable claim about what they've accomplished.
Nowhere has this transformation been more dramatic than our southern border. You have seen a change on your southern border that Sleepy Joe said couldn't happen. Sleepy Joe, the worst president in history, said it couldn't happen. The last administration engineered a massive border invasion, allowing gangs, cartels, and terrorists to infiltrate our communities and rape and murder our citizens, and that is being nice about it. That's actually being nice about it. They are the worst. But standing before you today, I can proudly report that this heinous betrayal is over and that we have achieved the most secure border in American history by far. In American history.
Secure border in American history. And he did it without Congress passing a single bill. The stark contrast could not be clearer. Now, let's talk about something affecting every single American, their wallet. The Biden-Harris administration presided over the worst inflation crisis in memory. Grocery bills doubled. Energy costs exploded. So what's changed in 100 days? Well, take a look at these incredible numbers.
And our first 100 days have also produced historic results in the battle to defeat Biden's inflation disaster and bring jobs and wealth back to America. And bring them back to Michigan, okay? We want to bring them back. As an example, since I took office, the cost of eggs is down 87%. Now, right? You remember a few weeks ago, before Thanksgiving, before We heard about it before. I heard about it a long time ago. Before Thanksgiving, I heard about it. And then I was hearing that I wasn't president. This guy was barely president. Nobody knew, was he president? Who the hell was president? To this day, I say it was the one that operated the auto pen, but what do I know? But I was hearing about eggs, and then all of a sudden we have a great election victory. And my first week in office, they start screaming at me, "What about the price of eggs? Eggs, eggs." I said, "I've only been here for 6 days. I was there 6 days." I said, "What's wrong with eggs?" They said, "The price of eggs has gone through the roof and you won't be able to have them for Easter." So I put our very capable Brooke Rollins, who's our wonderful Commissioner of Agriculture that you know in Michigan. I said, "Brooke, I've only been here 6 days before I heard, maybe even less, maybe 5, maybe 4. But it was my first week. And I said, "Brooke, you got to save me here. I'm getting killed about eggs. What the hell's going on with eggs?" She said, "Well, you can't get them. The price is through the roof, and it looks like we're going to have a real problem for Easter. You're not going to have eggs." I said, "Brooke, that doesn't sound politically viable to me. That doesn't sound good. Because nobody's going to believe me when you get out there that it's Sleepy Joe Biden's fault. So, Brooke, you got to get going, Brooke, please." And she did a great job. And you had so many eggs for Easter, and your price was down 87% from that point. Prices are coming way down. You know, the fake news doesn't say. They said, he pledged. Now, I pledged safe borders. I pledged all sorts of things. But they said, he pledged to bring prices down. Well, that's what I've done. They're trying to say the prices have gone up. Your energy, your car, your gasoline, they have 3 states this week, a couple of days ago, that were $1.98 a gallon. So gasoline prices are down by a lot. Energy prices are down. Mortgage rates actually just went down. Prescription drug prices just saw their largest monthly decline ever recorded. How about that? Remember what you heard. Prescription drug prices just took the biggest plunge ever since they've recorded the prices, which have basically gone up, except for my 4 years. They did pretty well, but we got to know that system. The system is a bad system, but they just took the biggest dive ever in the history of prescription drug prices. Think of that. That's a big thing. I got to say it again and again, because they will never tell you that. The fake news will never tell you that. Grocery prices have gone down. Everything's gone down.
Egg prices down 87%. Prescription drug prices seeing the largest monthly decline ever recorded. Gasoline prices dropping significantly. Now, these aren't small tweaks. They are dramatic reversals from the economic disaster of the last administration. But the biggest economic changes might be coming from Trump's aggressive trade policies. Watch how American companies are responding.
Thanks for all of the things that we've done and to our policies. Trillions of dollars are now pouring into the United States because of common sense, just common sense. Apple, great company, was building everything in China. Now they just announced that they're spending $500 billion to invest in America, not in China. My friend Jensen from NVIDIA, they're spending, you know what NVIDIA is? They're spending $500 billion. TSMC, the biggest chip maker in the world by far from Taiwan, they're spending $200 billion in the United States. Amazon, $21 billion. Johnson & Johnson, $55 billion. The Mac, $20 billion. Merck, Stellantis, General Motors are putting in billions and billions of dollars, and many other companies.
Apple moving $500 billion in investments from China back to America. NVIDIA putting in another $500 billion. Taiwan Semiconductor, Amazon, Johnson & Johnson, the list goes on. Companies are rushing to invest trillions of dollars back into the United States. And what about the auto industry? Well, especially in Michigan? Well, check out the president's bold action.
To keep my promise to the great state of Michigan, I terminated Joe Biden's insane electric vehicle mandate, where you were mandated to buy an electric vehicle. You were mandated. within just a few years to buy an electric vehicle. How about that? And you know what? They're great, but people don't. Not everybody wants them. You got to be able to buy a hybrid, a gasoline-powered car. You can buy lots of different cars, but you can't be mandated to do anything. And I've already proudly imposed a 25% tariff on all foreign automobiles. Any foreign car, like they do to us. This is going to create more jobs in this state and this country. And to help these automakers bring their factories home as rapidly as possible, I've just signed an executive order to give partial tariff rebates to any company that assembles its cars right here in the U.S. In other words, if they can't make it in time because they have to do it here, otherwise they haven't, I'm giving them a little bit of a break, right? They took in parts from all over the world. I don't want that. I want them to make their parts here. But I gave them a little bit of time. It's 15% and then 10% of the parts, so it's not so bad. Somebody would say, oh, well, that's a change in parts. It's not. It's called a little flexibility. The guys were crying. They love it. Everything's good. But just in case we can't get everything in time, we gave them a little bit. So it's 15% of the parts and then it's 10% of the parts. We give them a little time before we slaughter them if they don't do this.
A 25% tariff on foreign automobiles to protect American manufacturing, combined with tariff rebates for companies bringing production back to America. We're watching in real time as jobs that left for overseas are suddenly becoming American jobs again. Another cornerstone of the Trump administration's first 100 days has been completely reversing course on American energy production. The, quote, green policies of the previous administration, they were driving up costs and making America dependent on foreign energy. Now take a look at Donald Trump's America First energy policy.
We've ended the radical left war on American energy. We've stopped their crusade on coal. Did you see what I did the other day? Clean, beautiful coal. I said, you're not allowed to use the word coal unless you say clean, beautiful coal. So you have guys getting up, Department of Energy. We have great people at Department of Energy. They talk about clean, beautiful coal. You know, China uses coal. They're opening up a coal plant every week, a massive coal plant. But we're not allowed to use it. But now we are, because last week I gave it absolute, total approval. And you know what I don't give approval to? Those stupid windmills that go round and round and round. And we've ended the Green New scam. We've reopened ANWR, the greatest drilling site anywhere in the world, in Alaska, and implemented the new energy policy of the United States. You know what it is? We have a policy. It's called Drill, Baby, Drill. That's our policy.
Clean, beautiful coal. It's back. ANWR in Alaska, possibly the most productive oil field in America, has been reopened. And the administration has a simple energy policy: drill, baby, drill. And the results? Energy prices are dropping significantly compared to where they were under Biden-Harris. And American energy independence is returning, and it's returning fast. And one last area worth highlighting is Trump's focus on American health, and a move that has surprised many. He appointed Robert F. Kennedy Jr. as his Secretary of Health and Human Services, and they're already making moves to clean up our food supply. And it is absolutely amazing. Watch this announcement that food industry lobbyists don't want you to see.
I established the new Presidential Commission to Make America Healthy Again, chaired by our new Secretary of Health and Human Services, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. He's doing a good job, Dr. Oz, right? He's doing a good job. And he's a little bit different, but I want to tell you, he's a great guy. He's a great guy, and he loves this country. Just last week, Bobby announced that we're banning 8 major artificial dyes from our food supply. Sounds good to me.
8 major artificial dyes banned from our food supply. That's just the beginning of what appears to be a major push to address the declining health of Americans. What we're seeing is not partisan politics as usual. It's just common sense. Now take a look at how Donald Trump describes his approach.
But we're ending the inflation nightmare, the worst that we've had probably in the history of our country, getting woke lunacy and transgender insanity the hell out of our government. We're stopping the indoctrination of our children, slashing billions and billions of dollars of waste, fraud, and abuse. And above all, we're saving the American dream. We're making America great again, and it's happening fast, too. What the world has witnessed in the past 14 weeks is a revolution of common sense. That's all it is, really. We're conservative. You're conservative, you're liberal, whatever the hell. You know what it's all about? It's about common sense when you think about it. We're for common sense. We like strong borders. We like good education. We like low interest rates. We like being able to buy a beautiful car. And now deduct the interest on the loan. That's never happened before.
A revolution of common sense. Strong borders, good education, low interest rates. These aren't radical ideas. They are what any functioning country should provide its citizens. In just 100 days, we've witnessed one of the most dramatic turnarounds in American governance. And listen to this stunning admission about what is still to come.
We've accomplished more in 3 months than most administrations accomplished in 4 years or even 8 years. And we're just getting started. Believe me, we're just getting started.
We've accomplished more in 3 months than most administrations accomplish in 4 years or even 8 years, and we are just getting started. You heard him. Ladies and gentlemen, what we witnessed in Michigan wasn't just another Trump rally. It was a celebration of promises kept and a preview of what's to come. In just 100 days, we've seen a complete transformation of America's most pressing problems. The border crisis that seemed unsolvable fixed. The inflation nightmare crushing family budgets finally turning around. Our energy independence restored. And perhaps most importantly, jobs and factories that left our shores for decades, well, they are coming back home. None of these problems, none, required fancy new legislation or years of Washington committees. They required exactly what Trump delivered: decisive leadership and a willingness to put America first. And as the president himself said, we are just getting started. The first 100 days are merely the beginning of what's shaping up to be one of the most consequential presidencies in American history. And I'm here on the ground, reporting it for you. For the Next News Network, Gary Franchi reporting just outside the White House. So, Trump's Michigan rally wasn't just political theater. It was a blueprint for America's restoration. From border security to energy independence, from manufacturing jobs returning to plummeting food prices, the president laid out concrete results that directly impact American families. So the question that we need to ask ourselves tonight is this: why did the mainstream media tell us these problems couldn't be solved without lengthy congressional battles when all it took was decisive leadership from the Oval Office? Share your thoughts in the comments below, because we want to hear what you think about these remarkable achievements. And if you haven't yet, make sure you check out our merch shop, link below, shop.nextnewsnetwork.com, and support the network with your favorite gear. All right, folks. Let's see what everyone is talking about in the chat room. Any super chats yet? Oh, wait, whoa, holy cow. Okay, wow, what's going on here? Villain gifted 10 memberships already. Holy cow. And Tom B for 20 gifted 25 new members. Holy cow now. Craig gifting a member. And Villain, $2 Discord after hours following the show. And Tom B for 20 chiming in as well. Discord after hours, join the family, N3 for life. Villain again, Discord after hours, follow every raw feed with the friends, freedom members. Best part of the day is ending with the N3 family. Oh, cool. Yeah, I was in that Discord video chat with you guys last night. It was really fun. Okay, we got more news to get to, and we are not done yet. So let's get this queued up. We're doing something different today, so it's just kind of, it might feel a little clunky, but we're getting the hang of it. 1 second here. Okay. Gary Franchi here from our D.C. studio. I'm bringing you my White House report on today's extraordinary cabinet meeting. President Trump gathered his team to assess their first 100 days, and what we learned changes everything about how government can actually work. This wasn't your typical Washington photo op. This was a boardroom-style presentation of real results. Each cabinet member had to account for their progress, and what Secretary Kennedy revealed about the previous administration left everybody stunned. The numbers they shared today will make you question everything you thought you knew about government efficiency. Now, is your body operating as efficiently as it should? Just like President Trump's cabinet is transforming government waste into results, our multi-collagen formula is transforming lives. Recent studies show that collagen supplements can dramatically improve skin health, joint function, and overall vitality. But not all collagen is created equal. Our formula features 5 key types from 4 premium sources specifically designed for maximum absorption. And just like the cabinet's efficiency drive, we are delivering real results. Visit healthwithgary.com. It's linked down below, and get 51% off during the special promotion. That's healthwithgary.com. So we got some breaking insider news direct from the White House. Sources show Trump is solidifying this cabinet war room. It's amazing. From 2.5 trillion tech surge, 3 trillion sovereign cash, woke ideology acts, RFK Jr. hunting, 300,000 missing kids, and bureaucrats are trembling as metrics replace slogans. We've got the full report direct from the White House right now. From the White House. This is Gary Franchi coming to you from the White House grounds, where President Trump just wrapped up an extraordinary cabinet meeting, pulling back the curtain on his administration's first 100 days. And what we witnessed wasn't the typical Washington photo op. Instead, America got a boardroom-style presentation from the executives running the federal government, complete with numbers, specifics, and what they're calling unprecedented results. Right out the gate, Donald Trump set the tone with this bold declaration. Watch.
We've just completed what many consider to be the most successful first 100 days of any administration in the history of our country, and we're just getting started. Things are happening that are amazing, and I would not say it if it weren't fact. In a few short weeks, we've achieved the most secure border in American history by far. 99.9%, which is a number that nobody thought was doable. Biden thought you had to go back to the legislature to get legislation passed in order to create a secure border. You didn't. You just had to have the right president and the right people working it. Congratulations, by the way, and to Tom. For 2 months in a row, we have set the all-time records for the lowest number of illegal border crossings ever recorded. The number of illegal border crossers released into the United States is down 99.999%. That is usually 100%. So I think it's an amazing tribute. And Christy, congratulations, and Tom and everybody else. It's an amazing job, actually. And it was done very quickly. We officially designated Tren de Aragua, MS-13, and the Mexican drug cartels as foreign terrorist organizations, and we're expelling these monsters from our country rapidly and working with the Department of Justice. Pam, you're doing fantastic. Your people are amazing. We're having some judge problems. Everybody's reading. We're having some judges that don't like, killers, murderers being thrown out of the country. So I don't know what their problem is, but we have little difficulty. We won on the basis of a great border and of getting criminals out of our country. That was why we won every swing state. We won by millions of votes. We won everything. Every metric we won by a lot. It was a massive victory, and we won, I think, largely because of this issue. I put this issue as #1 issue, and they don't want us to do what we're supposed to do, and I don't think that can be. And I hope the Supreme Court is going to fully understand what's going on. We have to get the criminals out of our country, and that's the basis under which we won the election.
The most successful first 100 days of any administration in history, a claim the mainstream media immediately dismissed. But the president's chief of staff wasn't backing down from that assessment. Watch this.
I'll be brief so you can hear from these amazing people. Congratulations to everyone on 100 days. That's been it's unparalleled in my memory and best I can tell ever. But it hasn't been busy for busy's sake. The president's promises made to the American people have been kept time and time and time again. You all have been out there spreading the word with community groups in the states and media. It hasn't gone unnoticed, and let's work hard to the next 100 and have equally as much success then. Thank you.
And you're doing a great job, Susan.
I think everybody agrees.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now let's break down what these cabinet officials revealed about the administration's priorities and whether their confidence is justified by the results that they're reporting. Now, the administration's most dramatic shift has been in national security and foreign policy. National Security Advisor Mike Waltz didn't mince any words about the previous administration. Take a look.
Mr. President, the last 4 years, the world experienced a total lack of zero leadership under Biden. And then we've had 100 days of your leadership with respect, with strength, starting with there'll be all hell to pay if you don't let our people go. Dozens, over 40 Americans have come home under your leadership. Far more terrorists are no longer threatening the homeland under your leadership, pulling all of these agencies together, including the evil individual responsible for the Abbey Gate bombing, and to sit with the 13 Gold Star families, and you showing that follow-up and that justice has been incredible. But pulling this great team together, Mr. President, everything from revitalizing shipyards to cyber to space, that takes this entire team working together. It's an honor to serve you in this administration, and I think the world is far better, far safer for it.
Thank you very much.
Leadership captures the stark repositioning of American foreign policy and the emphasis on bringing Americans home and eliminating terrorist threats shows a focus on tangible outcomes rather than the diplomatic niceties. Behind the scenes, the defense secretary revealed how the military is being transformed. Watch.
Go ahead, Pete. Well, Mr. President, I think we're controversial because we're over the target. And like so many things, Mr. President, you inherited a demoralized military that couldn't recruit, that was perceived as weak after what happened in Afghanistan and elsewhere because of Joe Biden. And what we have seen since your election and the inauguration has been nothing short of a recruiting renaissance. Decades, it hasn't been decades since we've seen this kind of recruiting in the Army, the Navy, the Marine Corps, the Air Force. The men and women of America want to join the United States military led by President Donald Trump.
And the police, by the way.
Absolutely.
And fire. I always mention the fire, but the police and fire, likewise they have waiting lists now, and 6 months ago was a disaster.
Truly historic. We can barely absorb the volume and retention as well. Men and women in the military who don't want to get out now that they have a real commander-in-chief. We're reinforcing standards. We're going to be fit, not fat, in our formations. We're welcome back all the folks that were forced out because of the COVID mandate. We've ripped wokeness out of the military, sir, DEI, trans, and it's Fort Benning and Fort Bragg again at the DOD. We're rebuilding the military, sir. The Golden Dome is well underway. F-47, reassuring allies and deterring enemies. We found nearly $6 billion in DOGE savings that we're going to reinvest, including $50 billion from the Biden administration focused on things like climate that have nothing to do with lethality and warfighting. And we will have, as you said, sir, the first $1 trillion budget that we plan to spend wisely on behalf of our warfighters. From day one, sir, we've helped get 100% operational control of the border, coming alongside DHS and CBP. Right. We've got 11,000 troops on the border who now, because of the new national defense area, sir, can help detain illegals at the border and hand them over to CBP. It used to be if you saw camouflage on the border, they could hold binoculars, and that's it. Now we can detain and assist, and we're going to get 100% operational control of that border. Our NATO allies know they have to step up. The Houthis in the Middle East are feeling the weight of American power, and we're deterring communist China. So because of your leadership, sir, I believe we're making the military great again. And I thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Now, these changes aren't just organizational, they're philosophical. The Defense Secretary proudly announced that they've ripped wokeness out of the military and restored traditional military focus on combat readiness. Perhaps the most stunning revelations came on the economic front. The president's economic team painted a picture of manufacturing returning to America at unprecedented scale. Here's Howard Lutnick describing a single project's impact. Watch.
So they're investing $165 billion in 1,100 acres in Arizona, and they're building the highest tech chip manufacturing, semiconductors, and 4,000 employees. You know, American tradecraft, right? Technicians doing every kind of work. The classic foundation of America is building it. They had 14,000 people. They're expecting 40,000 people to build the rest of their plants and to employ 20,000 people for the rest of the time.
And
this is
never
all driven.
You never saw a site like that.
And this is all driven by your tariff policies. No chance this be happening without you.
That is just one facility in Arizona, creating thousands of jobs. But the broader numbers are even more striking. Watch this.
I have the pleasure of running the Investment Accelerator, which gets to recruit these companies. And you've never seen anything like the companies committed to building in America. Technology companies have committed over $2.5 trillion to build in America based on your tariffs, right? Sovereign countries, all backing, the whole Middle East and all these countries backing their sovereign wealth funds. They all want to invest in America, and they're coming in, again, over $3 trillion committed. So just those two topics, you're at $5.5 trillion, and then you've got the whole pharma industry knows it's got to come home because America pays for all the drugs of the world. So the pharmaceuticals have to come home, right? Autos coming home, industrials coming home. So, you know, we've got to train, and your great Secretary of Labor together and Secretary of Education together, we're going to train the workforce to build America. It's unbelievable. We've got so much, as I travel around, the attention on the Trump Gold Card. I mean, it makes me very popular. Last night, I was out to dinner, and someone came up and said, can I buy 10? And how do I buy 10? And I'm like, that's pretty good. It's $50 million for dinner. So, you know, I was paying for my dinner. The External Revenue Service, right? You've got the tariffs and the hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars coming in to build the External Revenue Service. That our objective, of course, is to replace the Internal Revenue Service and let those outside countries trading with us, let them pay their fair share to America. And then, of course, you got rid of de minimis. And what happened is these foreign countries were sending in little packages for free and knocking out our mom and pop businesses across America. You put an end to it, and you're going to rebuild the mom and pop and the small business of America. You're their president, and I'm proud to support you.
Technology companies committing $2.5 trillion. Sovereign wealth funds bringing in $3 trillion more. These are projections or promises. They're deals that are being signed right now. And it's not just manufacturing. The housing crisis that's been squeezing American families, that's getting attention too. Watch.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. Thank you. And you made it very clear that you wanted to put America first. And also from day one, you wanted to make housing affordable again, because we do have a housing affordability crisis in our country. And so at HUD, we've been cutting all the red tape and bureaucracy as it pertains to housing affordability and unleashing creativity of our builders and developers around our country and restoring local control. We took down the affirmatively furthering fair housing rule, as you know, which was a zoning tax from Washington. So no longer will Washington be picking winners and losers, but localities and elected officials in different states and cities will have that flexibility. Also, you alluded to securing the border, and such a great job has been done with all of our partners at the table. And at HUD, we want to make sure that the resources that we have now, which is American taxpayer dollars, in the Biden administration, they prioritize illegal aliens over the American people. And so we signed an MOU with Secretary Noem at DHS to make sure that HUD-funded housing only goes to American citizens, and no longer will it go to illegal aliens coming across our border. We have about 9 million people living in subsidized housing in our country. 59% of illegal alien families use some sort of welfare program, costing us $42 billion a year. And so we have prioritized American and American people only to live in HUD-funded housing. And also to make housing affordable, we also signed a partnership with Secretary Burgum at DOI to use underutilized federal lands, as you campaigned on and promised to identify those lands to build affordable housing in our country so that people can realize the American dream. We also restored biological truth, as you did in sports. We have the equal access rule at HUD, which we took that rule down to ensure that at women's shelters, that those that enter those shelters would be of the same sex, and that we would protect the ladies of our country. No longer will those that identify as women but are not women be able to enter our shelters, so that we can protect the ladies that we serve. Along with our DOGE task force, we identified over $2 billion in savings. At HUD, $260 million at HUD were just in contracts, $4 million with DEI. And so we took those contracts down and de-obligated and sent back $1.9 billion back to the Treasury for the American people. Again, we want to be good stewards over the American taxpayer dollars. And so, Mr. President, thank you for your leadership in this. And we have a tremendous team at HUD, and I'm so grateful to be part of this team around this table to take care of the American people. And I consider it a great honor and humble to do so.
Good job.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
The HUD Secretary's focus on American citizens first and deregulation shows how this administration is approaching the housing affordability crisis differently than its predecessor. And speaking of dramatic shifts in policies, here is what HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. revealed about his department's priorities.
In the Biden administration, HHS became a collaborator in child trafficking and for sex and for slavery. And we have ended that, and we're very aggressively going out and trying to find these children, 300,000 children that were lost by the Biden administration. And we are...
That explosive claim about the previous administration losing 300,000 children is one of the most serious accusations that we've heard, with Kennedy pledging to aggressively locate these missing minors. Now, this represents perhaps the starkest example of the administration's focus on completely reversing its predecessor's policies. While past administrations have talked about streamlining government, this cabinet meeting revealed actual department-by-department changes. Even agencies typically shrouded in secrecy are being restructured. Watch.
The CIA, I don't know, Ratcliffe, I don't know if he's going to say anything. He's probably the one person here that's not allowed to talk about the great job he's done, but go ahead anyway.
Mr. President, as you know, at your direction, the CIA has deployed our unique covert action authorities in various places and continents to successfully advance your national security and foreign policy priorities, to advance peace, to end wars, to take terrorists off the battlefield, and to keep illicit drugs from coming into this country and harming Americans. Unfortunately, as much as I would love to detail your accomplishments in that regard, we can't do so in front of this crowd. But you and I both know, Mr. President, that you have had a profound positive impact on America's national security posture, and Americans are safer because of your leadership. What I can talk about publicly is, as has been mentioned, the CIA provided the intelligence that led to the apprehension of the Abbey Gate bomber, who is now being prosecuted by our great Attorney General and providing a measure of justice to those 13 families that suffered as a result of that disastrous Afghanistan withdrawal during the last administration. In addition, at your direction, Mr. President, the CIA has negotiated and secured the release of Americans like Mark Fogel and Ksenia Karolina, who have been wrongfully detained, sending the message that you will forget about no Americans that are being held in other places unfairly and unjustly. And finally, Mr. President, the CIA is being restructured at your direction to focus on our core mission and to eliminate the well-documented politicization that has taken place in the intelligence community from bad actors in the past, to focus on our core mission and to make America safe again. Thank you for the opportunity, Mr. President.
The CIA director's comments about ending well-documented politicization and refocusing on core mission reflects a government-wide effort to strip away what they see as ideological diversions. Now, infrastructure is another focus, with some blunt criticism of the previous administration. Watch.
I think we have to bring it up. We have very obsolete equipment for air traffic controllers. The equipment, the towers have horrible equipment. It's been renovated for years. The money they spent over the last 4 years, this Buttigieg did a horrible job. They wasted billions and billions of dollars hooking up wire equipment to non-wire equipment to satellite equipment, and a third grade student would know it doesn't work. You can't work it. They wasted tens of billions of dollars. But we want to put a brand new air traffic control system in.
Those accusations about wasted billions on incompatible equipment highlight the administration's focus on identifying waste and inefficiency. And of course, taxes remain central to the agenda. Watch.
So maybe the biggest thing we're working on, maybe bigger than tariffs in a certain sense, is we call it the one big beautiful bill. And that's wielding its way right now through the Senate. And John Thune has been actually amazing. And the Speaker has been so great, Congress. Mike Johnson has been really two guys that they get along great, and it's just been a beautiful, unified attack, really, because we have to attack because the Democrats are trying to stop it at every turn. It would mean a 58% tax hike if they were successful, and lots of other bad things beyond the tax hike. But with us, it'll be the biggest tax cut in American history. How are we doing with the bill?
We're doing great. We're day in, day out, hour by hour negotiations to make sure your stuff is in there and to make sure we have the border resources, the defense resources, and to save the American people some tax money and make sure all those tax cuts that you ran on are in there that help get people back into the workforce. And I think we're making a ton of progress.
I think we're doing well. Like I said, the biggest tax cut in the history of our country, and it would be the biggest tax increase if the Democrats are successful. They're the only people I've ever seen running for office where they want to increase taxes, but this would be a 58, maybe a 60% tax increase, unsustainable for the American people.
This one big, beautiful bill represents what could be the administration's most significant legislative achievement, if they can get it through Congress despite Democrat opposition. Now, what we've seen today is something unusual in Washington. Administration holding itself accountable with specific metrics and results after just 100 days. No vague promises about what they hope to accomplish someday. Instead, cabinet secretaries reported concrete actions, border statistics, investment dollars, regulatory cuts, and bureaucratic overhauls. Most striking, though, was transparency. Rather than hiding behind carefully crafted statements, these officials were surprisingly direct about both their accomplishments and the challenges ahead. Now, whether you support this administration or not, today's meeting provided something rare in politics: a clear department by law department accounting of what they believe they've accomplished, with specific numbers and actions rather than empty rhetoric. And if today's session is any indication, we can expect much more dramatic change in the months ahead as this administration continues implementing its agenda at breakneck speed. For the Next News Network, I'm Gary Franchi, reporting just outside the West Wing at the White House. So there you have it. My report from the White House today revealed a complete transformation in how our government operates. Each cabinet secretary presented concrete achievements, not vague promises or bureaucratic jargon, but real measurable results. This raises a crucial question. If this much waste and inefficiency could be eliminated in just 100 days, what exactly have previous administrations been doing with our tax dollars all these years? We want to hear your thoughts on this remarkable cabinet meeting. What shocked you the most about the revelations? Drop your comments below. And while you are there, make sure you hit the description and check out shop.nextnewsnetwork.com and grab some merch to show the world where you stand with the real news. All right, what's up? We got $10 from Craig. We hit 1,000 likes. We would like you to sing your number one hit. Whose side are you on? Thanks, from the N3 family. Oh, man. Which side are you on? Which side are you on? Okay, there you go. That's all you get. I don't know the whole song, but yeah. Jeremy, Catherine, 3%er, Duty, Colleen, and Casey, and TJ, and Chef D, and Scott. The thong dance? Not happening. No. No siree is that happening at all. Okay, we got to keep going into our next topic of the evening here. Okay. Yesterday at the White House, President Trump sat down with ABC's Terry Moran in what was supposed to be another mainstream media ambush. Instead of landing their usual gotcha moments, Moran watched as his loaded questions about authoritarianism and personal revenge backfired spectacularly. The president systematically dismantled every accusation, turning their own tactics against them. But what happened off camera after the interview might be even more revealing. The reaction from ABC's team tells you everything about why Americans don't trust mainstream media anymore, so don't go anywhere. Now, watching mainstream media's constant attacks on truth can raise anyone's blood pressure, but here's what they don't want you to know. Managing your blood pressure naturally is possible. Like President Trump taking control of hostile interviews, you can take control of your health. Our revolutionary formula combines white mulberry leaf and cinnamon bark powder, clinically proven to help regulate blood pressure and support heart health. While the media tries to stress you out, stay calm and healthy naturally. Visit boostwithgary.com and save up to 40% on our special formula. That's boostwithgary.com. Okay, we got some breaking news direct from the White House Inside Circle. ABC, they tried to ambush, but Donald Trump, what did he do? He flipped the script on live TV. Moran's talking points shattered by sealed border, falling inflation, Putin backpedaling. We've got the unfiltered counterstrike analysis in today's report. So let's get right into it here. We've got it all queued up, and let's see. Now with ABC's Terry Moran. Good evening, America. Gary Franchi here, reporting from just outside the White House for the Next News Network. President Donald Trump sat down with ABC's Terry Moran yesterday, and what should have been a substantive discussion about the president's accomplishments quickly turned into yet another mainstream media ambush. Yes, we've got all of the clips lined up, so let's get right into it. Here is Moran going straight for the authoritarian accusation just minutes into the interview.
What do you say to people who are concerned you are seizing too much power and becoming an authoritarian president like we haven't had before?
No, I would hate them to think that. I'm doing one thing. I'm making America great again. We have a country that was failing. We have a country that was laughed at all over the world. We had a leader that was grossly incompetent. He should have never been there. The election was rigged. He should have never been there. Our country suffered greatly, and now our country's coming back like nobody can believe. I have editorials just today where they're saying they've never seen anything like it. They love it. Our country's coming back, and we're respected again.
Notice the framing here. He doesn't ask if Trump is seizing power. He starts with the assumption that he is. Classic media manipulation tactic. Embed your accusation in the question itself. Now, President Trump pushed back immediately, explaining that he's simply making America great again after years of incompetent leadership. But Moran wasn't finished. He continued his attack pattern with another loaded question about the president's motives. Take a look.
Are you using your powers as president to get personal revenge?
No, I'll tell you what you're really not asking, and you should be asking. There has never been a president in this country, in the history, that was persecuted like I was persecuted by really crooked people, dishonest, horrible people, and it's been proven. So when you say I'm treating people rough, I'm not treating people rough. I was treated worse than any president in the history of our country. And, you know, people figured, well, maybe that's it. Finally, we got, you know, he's leaving town. There goes the helicopter. And then I came back. And I came back because I have tremendous support. You know, when you win an election like I won it, and you will admit I won all 7 swing states, I won the popular vote, I won 2,750 districts compared to 500 districts. That's why the map is all red. And those people feel that I was treated unfairly.
Personal revenge? This isn't journalism. It's character assassination disguised as a question. Trump correctly pointed out that no president in American history has been persecuted the way that he was, by what he calls really crooked people, dishonest, horrible people. But let's talk about the real issues. Here's how Moran tries to undermine the president's remarkable success at the border. Watch.
And as you said, it is an undeniable fact that illegal crossings at the southern border have plummeted, a staggering decline. But there are questions about your methods. And so I want to ask...
About my message?
Methods. About your methods. How you're accomplishing
they seem to work.
Did you catch that pivot? Undeniable success, but always a but with these people. They can't simply acknowledge that President Trump has accomplished exactly what he promised, securing our border after years of chaos under Biden. Instead, Moran immediately moves to cast suspicion on methods as if he's enforcing our laws is somehow sinister. Now, the president was trying to explain the unprecedented scale, though, of the problem that he inherited. Take a look.
And all I can say is this. If you're going to have 21 million people, and if we have to get a lot of them out because they're criminals, we're going to have to act fast. We can't. Do you think we can give 21 million trials? Let's say each trial takes 2 weeks. Is that what you want us to do?
The law is the law, sir. The law is the law, and you're
the law doesn't say anything
uphold it.
about trials.
No, not trials, hearings. I said
These
hearings.
people came in, they're not citizens. They came in illegally. They came into our country illegally.
And
we have to get them out.
There's a legal process for that.
I can't, sure, and we follow the legal process. I can't have a trial, a major trial for every person that came in illegally. We have thousands of murderers that came in. They're going to murder people. They already have murdered people in our country.
Right, so
we have to get them out, and we have to get them out fast.
Really bad guys, but in our country, even bad guys get due process, right?
If people come into our country illegally, there's a different standard. These are illegal. They came in illegally.
But they get due process.
Well, they get a process where we have to get them out. Yeah.
Okay.
There it is again, interrupting to lecture the president about due process for people who entered our country illegally. 21 million illegal immigrants, many of them dangerous criminals, and Moran's concerned about giving each one a 2-week trial? This shows the complete disconnect between the media elite and the concerns of everyday Americans. Now, President Trump also highlighted the criminals that were allowed to pour into our country. Watch.
What's the one thing, just one thing, that you think is the most significant thing you've done so far in these 100 days?
Well, I think maybe the border is the most significant because our country was really going bad. They were allowing people to come in from prisons, as you know, and you've heard me say it, but you've heard a lot of people say it. Prisons, mental institutions, gang members, murderers. We had many murderers, 11,888, they think. Some murdered more than one person. So you had murderers coming in, you had everybody coming in, and not just South America, from all over the world. They were emptying their prisons into our country. And now it's totally closed down. And you've seen just yesterday, they announced 99.9%. Nobody thought that could happen. And it happened quickly, very quickly. And I think that's very significant. But we're doing other things that are very significant. Results will take a little bit longer because it's one of those, you know, it's complicated. It's many years of trading abuse. We've been abused by other countries for years and years. They laughed at us. They thought we were stupid people. And we're fixing it. And I think that's going to be very, very important. But I
have a lot of ground to cover.
Yeah, I would really say that the border is so important.
That's the reality Americans were living with. Dangerous criminals walking our streets because the previous administration refused to secure our border. But you won't hear ABC focus on that. They'd rather nitpick and undermine the president who's actually fixing the problem. Now, the interview wasn't just about immigration. Terry Moran also tried to play gotcha on economic issues. Watch this.
Don't your tariffs cut against that promise you made to bring prices down?
No, because I had massive tariffs on China, if you remember, in my first term, and we had essentially no inflation, like around 1% inflation, which is like a perfect number. And then when Biden took over, it went through the roof. It went to probably the worst inflation we've ever had. I mean, we had an inflation nightmare. Now, if you look at what's happening now, we're only there for 100 days, as you say, and in 100 days, we took over. We had bad inflation for 4 years, for 2 years of, especially 2 years of his administration. I would say record-setting like we've never seen. They say 48 years, the worst in 48 years. I say it was much worse than that.
Yeah.
Right. So now if you look at what's happened, energy is down. Gasoline hit $1.98 in a few states during the last couple of days. It was $3.50 and $4 and $4.50. But gasoline is way down. When I took over, you remember the big thing with eggs. They hit me the first week. Eggs, like it was my fault. I said, I didn't cause this problem. This problem was caused by Biden. What's the problem with eggs? And they said, they've doubled. And well, eggs are down 87% since I got involved.
A lot of that is
and
bird
by the way,
flu,
and there
right?
were plenty of eggs for Easter, which we just went through. There were plenty of eggs for Easter. They were saying you won't have enough eggs for Easter. My secretary did a fantastic job on eggs. Groceries are down. Everything's down. Okay. Interest rates are the same. Interest rates should be down, but we have a Federal Reserve that wants to be stubborn. They want to be cute.
We'll get to that.
This is classic misdirection. As President Trump explained in his response during his first term, we had tariffs on China with minimal inflation around 1%. It was under Biden that we saw record-breaking inflation hurting American families. Now, the president, he's working to fix that disaster, but Moran wants to pretend tariffs are the problem, not the solution. Now, let's take a look at another example of Moran's bias when discussing inflation.
So your answer to the concern about the tariffs is everything's going to be hunky-dory?
Everything's going to be just fine. It wouldn't have been if I didn't do this. I had a choice. I could leave it, have a nice, easy time, but I think ultimately you would have had an implosion. Our country had inflation that was worse than they've ever had it before. You don't mention that. Why don't you mention that? We had the worst inflation probably in the history of our country. People say 48 years. Probably in the history of our country, we had the worst inflation. And people were dying over the inflation. You know that. Now the grocery prices are coming down. The energy prices are coming down. Gasoline's coming down. It's all heading in the right direction.
That's not a question. That's mockery. The president was explaining how his policies are already bringing down prices after years of Biden-era inflation. And Moran responds with this condescending nonsense. This is what passes for journalism at ABC. Now, President Trump, he also explained how his administration is already rebuilding America's standing in the world. Watch.
Do you think the reputation of the United States has gone down under your presidency?
No, I think it's gone way up, and I think we're a respected country again. We were laughed at all over the world. We had a president that couldn't walk up a flight of stairs, couldn't walk down a flight of stairs, couldn't walk across the stage without falling. We had a president that was grossly incompetent. You knew it, I knew it, and everybody knew it, but you guys didn't want to write it because you're fake news.
All right. Thank you.
And by the way, ABC is one of the worst, I have to be honest with you.
Thank you.
President Trump is exactly right. Under the previous administration, America was a laughingstock. Our enemies didn't fear us, and our allies couldn't trust us. Now, just 100 days in, we're already seeing a return to strength and respect on the world stage. Now, look at the situation in Ukraine. Another mess that President Trump inherited. Watch.
I want to turn, I was just in Rome, and to that moving photograph of you and President Zelensky sitting in St. Peter's Basilica talking peace. It went around the world.
Sure.
Take us into that moment.
Well, look, the Ukraine is a very serious, very tough situation. And this is Biden's war. This is not my war, but I want to see if I can solve it, because probably close to 5,000 young soldiers a week are being killed, Russian and Ukrainian. We also spend a tremendous amount of money in Ukraine, and Europe should be spending much more than us. They're not. They're spending much less. It's been badly handled by the Biden administration. It's been badly handled all the way around, the way around.
That moment.
The moment was a moment of solace, in a sense, because tremendous numbers of people are dying. A lot of his people are dying. They're being killed. And I feel very badly about it. That's a war that would have never happened if I were president. And it didn't happen for 4 years. There was never even a thought of it happening.
The president is exactly right. This war would never have happened on his watch, and didn't for 4 years. But after the Biden administration's disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan, Putin saw weakness and took advantage. Now President Trump is working to clean up yet another mess that he inherited. Through the entire interview, we see the same pattern again and again. A hostile interviewer starting with a loaded question, interrupting, lecturing, and trying to frame every answer in the worst possible light. This is why Americans don't trust the mainstream media anymore. They're not interested in giving you information. They're interested in telling you what to think. They don't report news. They manufacture narratives. Now, President Trump, he's accomplished remarkable things in his first 100 days. The border is secure for the first time in years. Prices are starting to come down. America is respected on the world stage again. But you won't hear about these successes from ABC or any other legacy media outlets. They're too busy trying to tear him down. That is why independent media like the Next News Network right here at the White House is more important than ever. We're going to continue to bring you the facts without the spin, the agenda, or the bias. This is Gary Franchi reporting from just outside the White House. Stay vigilant, America. Now, what we saw in the White House interview exposed everything wrong with mainstream media journalism. Terry Moran came armed with gotcha questions and hidden agendas, but left with a lesson in real journalism. And here's what we need to ask ourselves. When did the mainstream media stop reporting news and start manufacturing narratives? When did they decide their job was to attack rather than to inform? Share your thoughts below on this remarkable interview. Did you catch all the moments where Trump turned their own tactics against him? And speaking of support, make sure you head on over to our merch shop at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com and grab a shirt or a hat and show the world where you get your real news. Okay, let's go. Looks like we have some super chats here. Just in the nick of time, $2 Canadian. Gary Will Ferrell holds you responsible. That's funny. And Ron Buck, $4 per character, stretching arm forward to offer a cup of coffee. Oh, thank you. And Tom B420 dropping 5. Thanks, Gary. N3 Discord camping trip. N3 Duskrid family. I'm not sure if that was intentionally misspelled. But yeah, I hear you guys are planning a real life meetup with all like the Next News viewers. That's so cool. You guys were talking about it last night. Really interesting. Okay, let's get to our next topic of the evening here. And I want to make sure I get everything queued up correctly. We are going to, yes, here we go. Okay. And let's see here. Whoa. Okay. In a White House briefing exclusively for new media today, Press Secretary Leavitt bypassed the mainstream propaganda machine to deliver the real numbers behind Trump's first 100 days. While corporate media outlets were left out in the cold, Leavitt gave independent journalists the hard data on manufacturing's return, border enforcement success, and energy independence. But what she revealed about the previous administration's deliberate sabotage of these programs, information they'd never share with mainstream outlets, will make your blood boil. And this is why they fear the independent media. And just like the Trump administration is removing roadblocks to America's success, our revolutionary Golden Revive formula, our Golden Revive formula is removing roadblocks to your body's natural healing. Pain is like government bureaucracy. It gets in the way of everything you want to do. But this breakthrough turmeric formula, 200 times more powerful than standard turmeric, works like President Trump's executive orders, cutting through the obstacles to deliver real results. Don't let pain be your deep state. Visit goldenrevive.com/NNN and discover how to take your life back. Okay. So let's get into it. Straight from the White House gates, Caroline Leavitt drops inside stats. Average family saving $11,000. Energy dives. Operation Return to Sender throttled only by rogue judges. DOJ now jailing rioters on site. The Gatefront briefing video exposes the media silence. Let's go into that right now. Good evening, America. As the sun is setting here at the White House, I'm here reporting. Gary Franchi for the Next News Network. Now, the White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt earlier wrapped a briefing with new media outlets, and she reveals an administration that's delivering results at breakneck speed and unprecedented access. Let's see what she had to say.
President Trump is truly the most transparent and accessible president in American history, and we are just following his example. That's a little bit why this press briefing today is tardy, because the president was hosting a more than 2-hour-long cabinet meeting with his entire cabinet. Each secretary went around the room to talk about the promises they are delivering on for the American public and the directives they are executing at the behest of the President of the United States. Can you ever remember a cabinet meeting in which the media were welcomed into the room to ask questions of the entire federal government? No, you can't, because it never happened. Joe Biden was afraid to speak to the press because he was mentally incompetent in driving our country into the ground. But fortunately, President Trump has been incredibly hard at work cleaning up Joe Biden's messes and making our country great again.
President Trump hosting marathon cabinet meetings where each secretary detailed their progress on delivering campaign promises. That's accountability in action. And the contrast couldn't be clearer when Leavitt points out how the previous administration avoided scrutiny while this president is tackling Biden's messes head on. Now, on the economic front, the administration is making moves that directly benefit American families. Take a look at this.
On the economy, President Trump is rebuilding the greatest economy in the world once again. Since day one, he has focused on defeating inflation, bringing down the cost of living, and making the United States the best place in the world to do business, invest, create jobs, and innovate. The president later this afternoon in the East Room of the White House will be joined by CEOs from around the world who have committed trillions of dollars in investments right here in the United States of America. I don't think the president is getting enough credit for the massive deregulation campaign that he has launched across the entire federal bureaucracy. He himself has signed a number of executive orders to unleash rapid deregulation and reduce the cost of living for families and for small businesses, and we are seeing a big impact of this already. His deregulatory actions thus far will save nearly $11,000 per family of 4 over the next several years. And building on this success, the president has encouraged the rapid onshoring of jobs to restore America as our world's manufacturing superpower. He is effectively utilizing tariffs to bring the entire world to the negotiating table, offering more favorable terms for our country. When all is said and done, America will finally have fair and reciprocal trade, and our country will finally stop being ripped off.
This massive deregulation campaign is already yielding remarkable results. $11,000 in savings for the average family of 4 over the next several years. That's mortgage payments, car repairs, college funds. And Leavitt emphasized how the president is using tariffs strategically to bring manufacturing back to American soil and stop the economic bleeding that we've experienced for decades. The administration is also confronting politically motivated violence head on. Listen to this.
We have seen a rise in political violence that stems from the left, dating back to the Black Lives Matter movement, which the left and the Democrats don't want to talk about much, but they burned down American cities. And the Biden administration did nothing to prosecute those who created that violence, oftentimes not just destroying businesses, but also lives and communities as well. You look at the rise of violence against the president himself and his supporters. You had 2 heinous assassination attempts from leftist lunatics, and the president is lucky and blessed to be here today because he was able to survive that political violence and those assassination attempts. Look at the recent attacks on Tesla, on Elon Musk's company. It's quite ironic because Democrats and leftists were the greatest fans of Tesla. Many Democrats drive Teslas to this very day, but then it's that their same party who is doing nothing to stop or condemn or discourage this violence from taking place. And in many cases, Democrat elected officials are actually inciting it and encouraging it. But that's not going to be allowed to happen anymore. The Attorney General was just in the cabinet room with the president and made it very clear to anyone who is inciting violence or participating in violence, you will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. And no longer do we have a Justice Department that chooses prosecutions based on one's political affiliation. If you break the law, you will be held accountable for that. And I think we are truly restoring a fair and equal justice system in this country. The Attorney General spoke earlier about how there have been several cases brought against those who have perpetrated this political violence against Tesla, which is a great American-made company. And we need to see more people on the other side of the aisle stepping out to discourage this violence. But I don't think we will hold our breath. We won't wait for them. The president is leading by example. And I think the restoration of justice we've seen at the DOJ under the leadership of Pam Bondi and Kash Patel, who's doing an incredible job as the FBI director, is a testament to that.
The stark reality Leavitt described as chilling. 2 assassination attempts on President Trump, widespread political violence dating back to the BLM riots, and recent attacks on American companies like Tesla. But what's most important is the change in approach. The Justice Department, under Attorney General Pam Bondi and FBI Director Patel, is now persecuting lawbreakers regardless of political affiliation. And energy independence is another area where dramatic change is already evident. Let's have a look.
It's 2 pieces. One of them is absolutely the message of President Trump. We're no longer going to stand in the way of oil production and natural gas production in our country. We had 4 years of pretty strident, all of government attempts to hamper oil and gas production. That's going to push prices up because people are worried about supply. That has been reversed. And leading up to inauguration and even after inauguration, President Trump has been steadfast. Everything we can do to grow U.S. oil and gas production, coal production, electricity production, every production in this country. That's the positive factor, and I think that's a huge part. That's probably the biggest piece of it.
After 4 years of policies that deliberately hampered American energy production and drove up prices, President Trump has completely reversed course. The message is clear. America will produce oil, natural gas, coal, and electricity in abundance. This isn't just about lower prices at the pump. It's about national security and economic strength. Not everything is smooth sailing, though. Leavitt addressed judicial obstacles to border enforcement. Check this out.
All right, another judicial pushback against President Trump's immigration crackdown. This comes after dozens were arrested in January during Border Patrol's Operation Return to Sender, where agents rounded up people determined to have entered who were determined to have entered the country illegally. Yesterday, California District Judge Jennifer Thurston demanded CBP agents cannot arrest suspected illegal migrants without a warrant or reason to believe the person is a flight risk before they can get one.
Operation Return to Sender was rounding up illegal errants until Judge Thurston stepped in with her demand for warrants. This kind of judicial activism directly counters what the American people voted for, a secure border and enforcement of existing immigration laws. And despite these obstacles, the administration remains committed to its border security mission. The president is also implementing common sense safety measures, as seen in this trucking industry initiative. Have a look.
Russell Rocha has been a truck driver for 17 years.
We need to open the door to opportunity for everybody.
While he says there is a need for drivers, Rocha sees the logic behind the executive order signed by President Donald Trump on Monday.
If you can't read or understand a certain sign that's a little dangerous, it could affect all of us.
The new order requires truckers to demonstrate proficiency using the English language before getting behind the wheel. According to the executive order, proficiency means drivers can read and understand traffic signs and communicate with traffic safety, border patrol, and agricultural checkpoints, as well as others.
Es una ley inefasta.
It's an awful law, Yoman Rivera told me.
En mis 15 años como camionero.
In my 15 years as truck driver, I never had an issue with English. Rivera claims he recognized the signs and communicated with officers with his limited English.
First off.
But according to Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy, there are documented cases where drivers' inability to read signs and speak the language may have contributed to a series of fatal accidents.
We have to watch out for lives. I mean, that's most important, right? It depends on how many people are affected and how many people decide to exit the industry because of this.
Rivera says he's already seen many truck drivers putting their trucks on sale. He also said
the requirement for truckers to demonstrate English proficiency isn't about politics. It's about basic safety. As Leavitt explained, if drivers can't read road signs or communicate at checkpoints, they create a danger to everyone on the road. Transportation Secretary Duffy cited documented cases where language barriers have contributed to fatal accidents. And what's particularly striking is how the administration's effectiveness is being acknowledged across political lines. Watch this.
Well, the president and I have our differences. He's been open and engaging, and I'm going to continue. My work is not done. Selfridge, we can check off the list, but I still want to make sure that I saw a tariff policy today that's a little more favorable to the auto industry. We got more work to do on that front. I want to make sure that we are continuing to combat Asian carp and deliver for the people in northern Michigan who are so impacted by the ice storms.
When a Democrat governor admits the president is open and engaging and checks items off her list, it signals a pragmatic approach that transcends partisan divides. This is how effective governance works, focusing on results rather than rhetoric. Now, the first 100 days of the Trump administration tell a story of promises kept and action taken. We're witnessing a government that's scaling back regulations to save families money, unleashing domestic energy production to lower costs, securing the border despite judicial interference, implementing safety reforms that save lives, and restoring equal justice under the law. This isn't about media access or political theater. It's about tangible results that improve American lives. The border is more secure, energy prices are falling, regulations that strangled small businesses are being eliminated, and political violence is being confronted without partisan favoritism. After years of economic decline and social division, we're seeing an administration laser focused on making America great again through concrete actions rather than empty promises. This is Gary Franchi from just outside the White House. Remember, stay vigilant, America. Today's exclusive new media briefing showed exactly why the mainstream media and their press is becoming irrelevant. While they push their tired narratives from outside the gates, Press Secretary Leavitt gave independent journalists like us real numbers, clear, measurable victories that directly impact American families. So the question every citizen should be asking tonight is this: why does it take independent media to get the truth about what's really happening in our government? Drop your comments below about which achievement from these first 100 days impressed you the most. Was it the border numbers, the manufacturing jobs, the energy independence? Let us know what you think. And while you are celebrating, go ahead and hit the merch shop down below, shop.nextnewsnetwork.com, and grab some merch to show the world where you stand with the real news. Okay. Omega Drone asked a question, and the question was this: please tell me where the prices are dropping, because where I live here in Colorado, I haven't seen it yet other than gas, and I am blind and I don't drive. Well, I looked it up while that clip was playing, and this is what I found: that in Colorado, there are no specific reports of price drops for goods. As of April, nationally, prices are dropping for gasoline, fruits, vegetables, cereals, bakery products, airline fares, hotel rooms, and used vehicles. And since you don't drive, you might notice lower prices on groceries like fruits, vegetables, and cereals at local stores. So that is what I can tell you. Omega. And thank you for the donation, super chat. And Crashing Thunder, thank you, Gary, for all you have done to keep us informed. Have followed since the very beginning, and I'm amazed and proud of how far you and N3 have gone all the way to the White House, baby. Thank you. And Villain dropping $3. Shiba Dog raising an arm to greet someone asking, how's it going? Thank you for that. Okay, let's keep going to our next report here. Let me get these things queued up. All right. And then there is this the one? Yeah, I think this is the one. At the White House today, President Trump celebrated DOGE's historic 100-day achievement, personally thanking Elon Musk for his service to the nation. The Department of Government Efficiency's unprecedented transparency has exposed $160 billion in waste, and Trump says that's just the start. Every cut, every recommendation, every decision is published openly on their website. While Musk will be reducing his time at DOGE starting next month, the president praised his sacrifice, calling him an amazing guy and a great American who chose public service over personal profit. And I've got all the details in this special report. Now, in today's America, masculinity is under attack, just like Elon Musk for daring to challenge the deep state. But here's the truth. Being strong, being a provider, being a leader, it's in our DNA. Test Boost Max was developed for men who won't back down. Like DOGE exposing government waste, our formula exposes what's holding back your natural testosterone. With 8 powerful ingredients backed by clinical research, it's about reclaiming what's rightfully yours. Visit sculptnation.com/NNN and save up to 51% on your first order. So we got some breaking intel direct from the White House. That's right. Trump and Musk rocking the DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency. $160 billion slashed in 100 days, aims for trillions. Activists are howling, the swamp is panicking, and Musk simply shrugs. And here is the full deep dive video I've got for you. Let's go and roll it. Good evening, America. Gary Franchi here reporting from just outside the West Wing at the White House for the Next News Network. 100 days into the Trump administration, and we're witnessing a transformation of government unlike anything in American history. At the center of this revolution is the Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, and its pioneering leader, Elon Musk. For decades, politicians have promised to cut waste and make government more efficient, but those promises rarely materialized into real change. The Trump-Musk partnership is different. They're actually delivering results. Let's take a look at what the president himself had to say.
Mr. President, you know, they say I wear a lot of hats. And as you can see, it's true. Even my hat has a hat. You know, the American people voted for secure borders, safe cities, and sensible spending. And that's what they've gotten. A tremendous amount has been accomplished in the first 100 days. As everyone has said, it's more than has been accomplished in any administration before, ever, period. This portends very well for what will happen for the rest of the administration. I think this could be the greatest administration since the founding of the country.
Well, we all want to thank you for your help, too.
Yeah.
You really have sacrificed a lot. Been treated very unfairly.
Well, they do like to burn my cars, which is not great. You know, could be better.
But you have been treated unfairly, but the vast majority of people in this country really respect and appreciate you, and this whole room can say that very strongly. You've really been a tremendous help. You opened up a lot of eyes as to what could be done, and we just want to thank you very much. And you know, you're invited to stay as long as you want. At some point, I guess he wants to get back home to his cars. And his You've done an
Thank you.
$150 billion. Think of this.
Yeah. It's 160 now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, who's counting?
They said, oh, it could have been more. And a lot of stuff is being worked on.
Yeah.
That number could be doubled and even tripled. A lot of things are being worked on that we don't count yet because it's not quite there. But
Yes.
You've done a fantastic job, and we appreciate it very much, Elon.
Thank you. And it's also an honor to work with your incredible cabinet. I just like to say thank you, everyone, for your, it's great to work with you.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
Thank you.
That's the President of the United States personally thanking Elon Musk for his sacrifice and service. When Trump says you've been treated very unfairly, he's acknowledging the tremendous price that Musk has paid for stepping into government service. I mean, think about it. Elon Musk was already one of the most successful businessmen in the world. He could have simply enjoyed his success and avoided the political crossfire. Instead, he chose to serve his country, knowing full well the attacks that would come his way. $160 billion in savings already identified, with the president suggesting that number could double or even triple. That's not just moving money around or playing accounting games. That is real waste being eliminated from the federal budget. But there's been a cost for Musk personally. Take a look at this.
Yes, so the federal government isn't the only thing. It is the only thing that saw its size kind of go down. Tesla was hit hard this year. So, over the past 100 days, we've seen Cybertrucks burned. There's been protests outside of dealerships. Tesla has done so bad that last week, Elon Musk got on his earnings call with his investors and assured them that he would be stepping away from DOGE, would only spend about 1 to 2 days a week starting in May, and he would become an active CEO again. I mean, things got so bad that at one point we saw President Trump parade out Teslas onto the White House and tell people to buy them in order to boost Tesla's stock price. We've also heard from cabinet officials talking about how great Tesla is. So Musk telling his shareholders last week after a really bad earnings report, first quarter, he is going to be an active CEO again. I've been talking to Tesla investors. They're not happy about that. They tell me that the damage is done. He's a controversial figure. They don't want him to return to Tesla full time.
The attacks on Tesla have been relentless since Musk joined the administration. Protesters burning Cybertrucks, demonstrations outside dealerships, and a coordinated campaign to drive down Tesla's stock price. It's gotten so bad that Musk recently told investors that he would be stepping back from DOGE, limiting his time to just 1 or 2 days a week starting in May. Now, this is the price of public service in today's divided America. When you dare to challenge the status quo, the establishment fights back with everything that they've got. And make no mistake, they are targeting Tesla specifically because of Musk's work with the Trump administration. Now, the left claims to champion electric vehicles and clean energy, yet they're attacking the very company that revolutionized the EV market. They claim to support innovation, yet they're trying to destroy one of America's most innovative companies. The hypocrisy is stunning, but it's not surprising. And the contrast with how Democrat leaders operate could not be clearer. Listen to this.
And I say stitching together because, candidly, this is hard to communicate for many of us. It's hard to disseminate for the media. And it's hard to distill the essence for the public. I could have easily come in here with sunglasses and, chainsaws, you know where I'm going, and gotten your attention. I could regale you and give you stories about how we're tearing things down. And we can celebrate the conflict and the energy and that would run with the news, and people feel like, well, at least they're doing something. And people would say, well, they seem to be taking action. Government is bloated, it's not effective, it's not efficient, it's not engaged. We want to shake the machine. And that's a pretty effective communication strategy. There's no doubt about it. I was sitting literally on Sunday, front court of my 9-year-old's basketball game, and a father up to me and said, Governor, I didn't want to talk politics. It was the kids' halftime. He goes, but, is there something, wouldn't it be good if the blue states would come together and do a DOGE a DOGE for blue states. I know. And I was trying to explain. I said, what do you mean? I said, no, let me explain. He goes, no. I said, well, we have been. He goes, well, you really should do that. I said, no, we have been. He goes, I really encourage you to do this. And I started explaining what we were doing, and his eyes glazed over. He wants to see the chainsaw. He wants the sunglass. He wants the theatrics, the performative side of this. He wants the friction. He wants the protests. Because then it's a proof point of the concept. Without that, he struggles. And without that, we have struggled to communicate this. Let me give you a proof point. The announcement we're making today was done in partnership with state workers and employees.
That's California Governor Gavin Newsom openly mocking Elon Musk's approach to government efficiency. Instead of appreciating someone who's actually getting results, Newsom dismisses it as mere theatrics and performative. He's making fun of the sunglasses and chainsaw imagery while completely missing the substance behind the style. This is typical of career politicians. They talk endlessly about reform, but deliver nothing. They hold press conferences to announce initiatives that go nowhere. They create commissions and task forces that produce reports that sit on shelves gathering dust. What bothers Newsom and his ilk isn't that DOGE is all show and no substance. It's exactly the opposite. DOGE is delivering real results, and that exposes the emptiness of their own efforts. What makes DOGE so different is its unprecedented transparency. Here's Elon Musk explaining.
Everything I do is under extreme scrutiny.
Every day.
Yeah. So there's not an action I can take that doesn't get scrutiny 6 ways to Sunday. Every action that the DOGE team does is public. We put it on the website. It's the most amount of transparency there's been about any government thing ever. It would be, even if I wanted to, I couldn't get away with it. In fact, it's actually disadvantageous for me to be in the government, not advantageous.
Yeah.
If I wasn't in the government, I could lobby, and I could push for things that are advantageous to my companies, and probably receive them. My companies are suffering because I'm in the government.
Every action DOGE takes is published on their website. The most amount of transparency there's been about any government thing ever. That's just how Musk puts it. When was the last time a government agency made every decision, every cut, every recommendation completely public? It simply doesn't happen. Now, the transparency prevents political games and backroom deals. When everything is done in the open, special interests can't quietly protect their turf. Politicians can't hide wasteful spending that benefits their donors or constituents. And Musk makes another critical point. He could have stayed in the private sector and lobbied for policies that would benefit his companies. That's how the game is usually played. Instead, he stepped into public service knowing it would hurt his companies, not help them. And this is what true patriotism looks like. Now, the respect between President Trump and Elon Musk is clearly mutual. Just listen how the president talked about Musk at a recent rally.
They all say, oh, well, Trump is maybe he's under the thumb of Elon. Do you think Elon was happy about ending the all-electric mandate? I don't think he was too happy. But he's a great guy. Honestly, never said a thing. He says, let me just compete fairly. By the way, it's not fair what they've done to him, too. That is a disgrace. That is a disgrace. But he's a great guy. And he's really helped us. And, they've saved $150 billion on waste, fraud, and abuse, DOGE. So we want to thank him. He's an incredible guy. Anybody that can land a rocket ship. I saw this thing come in. I said, you got to be kidding. This rocket's coming in. Most of them go right into the ocean. But he lands it. I was on the phone with somebody talking, and I saw this thing coming in. It's spinning out of control, coming down. It's all burning. It's on fire. Looks like hell. I said, well, just another rocket going into the ocean. And then all of a sudden you see the fire pouring out of the engines, and it starts to slow up, slow. Then it's straight. Then it starts moving over a little bit. Then I say, oh, no, it's hitting the gantry. It's going to hit. And the engines go, rah, straightens it out. And it gets hugged like you hug your beautiful little baby, right? And I said, who the hell did that? It was Elon. And he told me, you don't have a space program if you have to drop $1 billion machine into the water every time you fly. You have to save those suckers. So he does. He's an amazing guy, and he's a great American, and he loves our country, he loves you. And he's paid a big price.
That is genuine admiration from the president. What's particularly telling is how Trump points out that Musk didn't complain when the administration ended the all-electric vehicle mandate, a policy that would have directly benefited Tesla. Instead, Musk simply asked to compete fairly, showing his commitment to free market principles over special advantages. And Trump's description of watching SpaceX land a rocket shows his personal appreciation for Musk's technological achievements. When the president says he's an amazing guy and he's a great American and he loves our country and loves you, it is clear that this partnership transcends politics. It's about putting American interests first, even when it comes at a personal cost. And President Trump, he's been steadfast in his defense of DOGE against critics who claim it's moving too fast. Here is what he told ABC News.
Did DOGE go too far, too fast, too recklessly?
No, I think DOGE has been, look, saved $150 billion. We saved, that's a lot of money. There's also a lot of things right now under investigation, which is going to increase that amount by a lot. That's a tremendous amount of money. There were some things where, when I heard about them, I put them back, as you know. There are things that I'm considering right now putting back, but overall we've saved hundreds of billions of dollars.
Well, the original promise was $2 trillion, went to $1 trillion, now to $150 billion, and heading south.
You don't know what it's going to be because we have things that are at a very high level that are being looked at right now. We also found tremendous waste, fraud, and abuse, as you know. We found a lot of fraud. There was a lot of fraud. Fraudulent things were taking place. And we ended that, and those people are going to be suffering because of it.
The president makes it clear. DOGE hasn't gone too far or too fast. In fact, it's uncovered tremendous waste, fraud, and abuse throughout the federal government. And notice how the president acknowledges that there are some areas where cuts have been reconsidered. This isn't a reckless slashing of government, but a thoughtful, strategic efficiency effort. Now, the initial goal was $2 trillion in savings, and while they're currently at $160 billion, the president notes that number is likely to grow substantially as more investigations are completed. That's because DOGE isn't looking at surface-level waste. They're digging deep into decades of accumulated inefficiency, finding fraud and abuse that previous administrations either missed or ignored. This gets to the heart of why DOGE is so different from previous efficiency efforts. It's approaching government waste from a business perspective rather than a political one. The question isn't how will this cut affect the next election, but rather is this program delivering value for taxpayer dollars? It's a revolutionary approach in Washington where virtually every decision is typically viewed through a political lens. This is why the establishment is fighting so hard against DOGE. It's not just about the specific cuts, it's about the entire methodology. If DOGE succeeds, it could fundamentally change how our government operates, making it more accountable, more transparent, and more efficient. Yes, it is disappointing that Elon Musk needs to step back from his daily involvement with DOGE. The personal and professional price he's paid has been steep. But we should be grateful for what he's accomplished in just 100 days. He's created a template for government efficiency that will continue even with his reduced role. The foundation has been laid, the systems are in place, the team has been built. DOGE will continue to root out waste and inefficiency even as Musk scales back his personal involvement. So, let's not forget, Musk will still have the president's ear. The bond formed between these two American innovators is clearly strong. When Trump says that Musk is invited to stay as long as you want, it signals an open-door policy that will continue regardless of Musk's formal role. So it's also worth noting that even in a reduced capacity, Musk brings invaluable experience to the table. This is a man who revolutionized multiple industries. His insight and vision will continue to influence DOGE, even if he's only there 1 day a week. So the lesson here is clear. Government doesn't have to be bloated and inefficient. With the right leadership and the right approach, it can be streamlined, transparent, and accountable. The DOGE experiment has proven this beyond any doubt. And while the mainstream media focuses on politics and personality, the real story is the $160 billion and counting being saved for American taxpayers. That's money that can go towards reducing our national debt, strengthening our military, or returning to the American people through tax cuts. This is the kind of fundamental change President Trump promised, not just talking about draining the swamp, but actually doing it. Not just complaining about government waste, but eliminating it. Not just promising transparency, but delivering it. So as Musk transitions to a reduced role at DOGE, we should celebrate what's been accomplished rather than dwelling on what might have been. He's set the standard. He's built the foundation. Now it's up to the rest of the administration to carry that vision forward. This is Gary Franchi reporting from just outside the West Wing at the White House. And we'll see you at the next report. So this White House report showcased how real government should work. Total transparency, measurable results, and true public service. In just 100 days, DOGE has published more information about government spending than we've seen in decades. The president's praise was clear. Musk could have stayed in the private sector, but instead chose to serve his country, knowing it would cost him personally. That's patriotism in action. So share your thoughts below. What do you think about DOGE's revolutionary approach to transparency? What about Trump's prediction that the $160 billion in savings could triple? And speaking of savings, have you gone to our merch shop yet? Shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. Let everyone know where you stand for transparency and results. All right. Got some super chats to get to. Resiness. So our own government is involved in child trafficking. Sad. Yes, it is. Deplorable Diva. Who put me in timeout? Not cool. I don't know, but thank you for dropping $2 to let us know. Alice Cersei dropping $19.99. Thanks. TX. And $2 from Sharon Johnson. Normally, I would hang out a little bit later with you guys, but tonight is it's already late, and I've got to be at the White House very early tomorrow morning for a press conference with Stephen Miller. So that is the show tonight, and I'm really glad you guys all got a chance to be here. A historic day, though, it's been in Washington. Our 5 reports from the White House today paint a clear picture of an administration delivering real results in its first 100 days. From President Trump's Michigan rally, we learned exactly how the border crisis was solved without a single new law from Congress. The numbers don't lie. We've gone from the worst border crisis in history to the most secure we've ever had. And those economic numbers, egg prices down 87%, prescription drugs seeing record drops, these aren't just statistics. They're real relief for American families. And then we got a super chat, $20 from Vetoif. Hey, Gary, you and your team are just killing these real reports from the White House grounds. Yahweh bless y'all. Thank you so much for that $20. And then, of course, we took you inside the remarkable cabinet meeting where every department head had to account for their progress. No Washington doublespeak, just hard numbers and real achievements. Secretary Kennedy's revelations about the previous administration show exactly why this new approach was so desperately needed. When NBC tried their ambush interview with the president, Terry Moran learned the hard way that gotcha questions don't work anymore. The American people saw right through their attempts to push false narratives about authoritarianism and revenge. Instead, they saw a president focus on results and not rhetoric. And Press Secretary Leavitt's briefing to new media, bypassing the mainstream propaganda machine, gave us the real numbers they don't want you to see. Manufacturing returning, energy independence restored, and a level of transparency we've never seen before in government. And finally, what an achievement from Elon Musk and the DOGE team. $160 billion in waste identified, with the president suggesting that number could triple. That's what happens when you put a business mindset in charge of government efficiency. While we'll be seeing less of Musk at DOGE going forward, his blueprint for transparency and accountability will continue to deliver results. So before we go, I want to thank everyone who supported our coverage with your super chats and Rumble rants. Your engagement makes the show what it is, real news for real Americans. And checking in on the totals for the evening, as some numbers have just come in. $74.63 and 21 new members. Amazing. Love you guys. Now, if you do believe in what we're doing here at Next News, there are 3 ways you can help us keep bringing you the truth. First, hit those donation links in the description. Every dollar helps us maintain our independence. And second, visit shop.nextnewsnetwork.com and grab some exclusive Next News gear. And third, most importantly, share this broadcast with everyone you know. It doesn't cost anything to tap share or send a text message. The mainstream media won't tell you these stories, but together we can bypass their censorship. So thank you for joining us for another powerful edition of the Raw Feed. Tomorrow we'll be back right here with more stories they don't want you to hear. For the Next News Network, I'm Gary Franchi. Stay vigilant, America.